I do it for money. And the first time, over there it's like I'm king of it. The first time I go do a gig in Iraq, they fly me and my manager in a passenger plane into Kuwait. Now, it turns out that Kuwait is a regular country that anyone can visit. Then, a military truck gets me and my manager and drives us over the border into Iraq and drops us off. And we're standing in the middle of the desert of a war-torn country. We can't see anything on the horizon. And I turn to my manager and go, "Good booking, fuckface." And then this helicopter comes in over the horizon and lands in front of us. And the blades are still going. And this soldier runs off and goes, "Excuse me, are you Jim Jefferies?" And I went, "What other white cunt were you looking for in the desert at this exact location?" Then he hands me my bulletproof vest and my helmet. He's obviously wearing his bulletproof vest and his helmet. His are camouflaged. Mine, fucking blue. And I said, "Why do I have a blue vest and helmet?" He said, "That's so the enemy know you're a civilian." I'm like, does the enemy give a shit? That's my main concern, because I've never been a sniper. But every time I got off the helicopter, I was surrounded by soldiers protecting me. If I was a sniper, I'd be like, "We got in this helicopter." And we're sitting in this chopper. That's what we call them in the biz, chopper. And I'm sitting here, and I've got two soldiers sitting next to me there. My manager, Brett's sitting there. He's got two soldiers sitting next to him. There's two soldiers in the cockpit. There's a great big door open next to me there. And there's another door open there. And at that door, there's a soldier with a great big gun on a hinge with bullets coming out of it like that thing that Chewbacca wears. And we take off, and off we go to Baghdad. And as we hit the border of the city, I hear a great big bang! And these two small flares shoot out from the small wings of the helicopter, followed by a trail of smoke. And then the helicopter goes... Now, the reason they do this is when they get over the danger area, if there's a heat-seeking missile, it'll be distracted by the flares, and then the helicopter will fly out of range. Very clever. Now, they never told me this was happening. As far as I'm concerned, the wings have just exploded. And we're now plummeting to our death. And it's nice to know how you react under pressure. Because I reacted thusly by vomiting over my lovely blue vest, ironically making it more camouflage than it was before. And yelling out, "We're going down!" The two pilots, the soldiers, the gunner, they all start pissing themselves laughing. They're reaching through, they're high-fiving each other. It turns out they've been waiting for this joke for months. I'm cleaning vomit off myself going, "Oh, you guys was a good one. Thank you for defending my freedom." In America, they employed someone to stand by the bar to make sure I didn't get wasted. Because Americans, they don't really drink like you people drink. Like they think they do. But they're very into, like, drinking games. Which you people don't really have drinking games. Right? Whenever, like, I'm out drinking in America, I always meet some, like college boy who'll come to me and go, "Hey, dude, ever play beer pong?" And I went, like, "What's beer pong?" "Well, you got to get a ping pong ball. You got to throw it in the cup. If you don't get it in the cup, then you got to chug your beer." And I'm like, "Well, let me just get this straight. I'm trying to get drunk. And you're putting an activity in front of me that may impede me from getting to my beverage." I said, "They have a drinking game in England. Do you want to know what it's called? Drinking!" And this is how it's played. What you do is, you have a drink, then you get another drink, you have a drink, 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 have a drink. You do this as fast as you can. And if you get so drunk that your friend has to drive you home, then you fucking win. How many more do you reckon there's behind them? There's a dwarf behind there mixing me a cocktail. I am fucking drunk now. All right. I'm going to tell you a story. This story is very long. The first 3 minutes of this story are very depressing. Just hitching up my pants. First 3 minutes of this story are very depressing, but there is a moment where this story takes flight. And you have to hang in there with me until this moment and trust me that the story is going to get good. I grew up at number 3 Turramurra Street. At number 5 was my 2 best childhood friends, Andrew and Daniel Connor. Daniel was born with a disease called muscular dystrophy. If you don't know what muscular dystrophy is, it's a horrible disease that wastes away at your muscles. It's the same as Lou Gehrig's disease or motor neurone disease, except you're born with it. You get diagnosed when you're about 6 years old, when you're not walking right, and they put you on crutches. By the time you're 10, you're in a wheelchair. By the time you're 20, you're in a completely vegetated state. Most people die before their 25th birthday. Dan's lived to be 33 years old, still alive and kicking. Let me rephrase that. Still alive. He's actually died 7 times in his life and been resuscitated 7. And I once asked him, I said, Dan, what happens after you die? And he said, nothing. So good luck with your religion and your faith. I'll take an actual statistic. Now, his family had since moved to Melbourne. I had moved to Great Britain. I went to do the Melbourne Comedy Festival. This is about a year ago. I hadn't seen him in all that time. His brother Andrew came to see my show, and then Andrew took me to see Dan. And I went in to see him, and I'd never seen anyone live this long with this disease, and he's laying on a bed. His eyelids are a muscle that he can't keep open anymore, and he's just squinting through these little things. And he has a breathing mask on him to keep his lungs working because the lungs are a muscle that he can't keep pumping. He has a heart monitoring machine in case he flatlines in the middle of the night and someone has to resuscitate him. And as soon as I walked in and saw this guy that I used to run around with as a child, I burst into tears. There's nothing worse you can give anyone in this world than pity, you know? I went in the corridor, I felt like a right prick, and I was fucking wiping my eyes off. And I went back in, and I sat with Dan. His brother Andrew went off to work, and me and Dan chatted for a while. 20 minutes into the conversation, Dan says to me, Jim, I'm 32 years old. Now, the first time I went for an audition, I'd been in LA for like a couple of days, and my agency sent me to this audition. And I went along, and I met this girl in the corridor called Carla, and I was really nervous, and she could tell I was nervous, and she sort of calmed me down, and we had a little bit of a chat, and she was really cute, and we flirted together and stuff. And then I read the little bit, and then I went home. And then I got a call later on that afternoon going, they loved you. You're going to come back for a callback. So I'm like, excellent, that's good. So I go back for a callback, and when you do callbacks, often they have you reading with another person. So I'm in the room reading with this girl, and it's the same girl from the corridor. It's Carla, right? And we're sort of flirting, and hey, from the thing before. And so we're reading, we have great on-screen chemistry and all that type of stuff. Then after the audition, I said, Carla, do you have any taxi cab numbers? I got to get to my next audition. She said, where are you trying to get to? And I went, Santa Monica. And she said, that's where I'm going. I'll give you a lift. Now, please note at this stage of the story, I didn't ask for the lift. We go down to the car. She gets in. She unwinds my window. She looks out and goes, Jim, what's your full name? And I went, Jim Jefferies. And she went, wait there. Then she called her mum up and said, hi, Mum, it's Carla. I just met a very nice boy at the audition today, and I'm going to give him a lift. But in case I get raped or murdered, his name's Jim Jefferies. So if you don't hear from me in an hour, assume something bad has happened and call the cops. Get in, Jim! So I get in. We got like a 15-mile drive. I say fucking nothing for the first 5 miles. I just look forward. Then eventually I turn to her and go, you've just made this rape really awkward. She fucking freaks out. She slams her foot on the brakes, she skids off the highway, she starts slapping at me. I'm grabbing her wrist now, feel kind of rapey and I didn't want to. And it's like, you offered the lift. I didn't ask for the fucking lift. You seem more concerned in solving this crime than preventing it. So I raped her to teach her a lesson, because how else would she learn? Now let's get a little bit deeper. You know, I just don't know what I will tell my grandson about what's happened in history now. I imagine I'll be 80 years old, and I'll be sitting in my chair, and my grandson will be out on the floor looking up at me adoringly, and I'll go, now, there used to be these people called Arabs, and they lived in the Middle East, or as you call it, the radiation zone. In 2020, President Macaulay Culkin got really upset with the Arabs and he nuked them all. But what Macaulay Culkin and the rest of the Americans hadn't realised was that China had slowly but surely become the superpower of the world. So while the Americans were nuking the Arabs, the Chinese nuked the Americans. And that's why we have no Americans and no Arabs. And then my grandson will look up at me and go, Masha Ba'wa. You know what I like about that joke? It has the feel of racism, but you can't pick the exact moment. Like, you know it is. It's definitely racist. So let's change subject quickly. I suffer from depression. I have done my whole life. I've been suicidal on and off for the last sort of 10 years, and it's something that I sort of deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I'm on antidepressives, but on the box it says they don't work if you drink, so I'm not on antidepressives. But whenever I get depressed or down, I always feel like a selfish asshole for doing it, because it's really a childish act to be depressed. Do you realise that we here in the first world countries, Canada, America, Australia, Britain, not Scotland, Wales, now, you know these major countries, they're all the good ones. Do you know we have a higher rate of suicide than the people of Africa? Let's just think about that for a second, right? The people in Africa, 1 in 4 of them are dying from AIDS. They're sitting in a grass fucking hut in their own shit. They walk 5 miles to get water with a fucking jug on their head, yet they're happier than you. You're sitting at home with a fucking pantry full of food, watching fucking X Factor or 7. Leave! So, me and Andrew went back down to the bar and we hanged out with the hookers. There's like 10 of them sort of mulling around, yeah. We're standing there. We don't know what Dan's up to, but we're standing around the bar with all the hookers. And then 5 guys from London walk into the bar who are obviously out of their fucking skulls on coke. Now, if you've never taken a lot of coke, then if anyone's got any... Now, if you've never taken coke, you know, when like 5 or 6 guys get together and take coke on like a Tuesday, there comes a point at about 6 in the morning when we go, well, you better call up some chicks, maybe, and you call up ex-girlfriends, like bring some friends. And it's like, I don't know what you're expecting. So basically, I think it was a Wednesday we did this, and I think these guys have been on coke all night, and they've obviously gone, oh, okay, let's go down to the brothel. We'll go down to the brothel. It'll be fun. We'll go down to the brothel. And I'm standing at the bar chatting with all the hookers, and these 5 guys from London walk in, and one of them recognises me and goes, Jim fucking Jefferies. Jim fucking Jefferies. I know you, mate. I know you, the comedian, the Spaz Approved guy, the comedian. And I went, hey, how you doing, man? He goes, hey, Jim. You want a line of Coke? And I went, yes. And I went up to the toilet and did a line of Coke. And I come back out, and obviously I've left Andrew alone for too long. And he was sort of panicking all by himself. And I sort of walk in like, what's wrong? And he goes, what if we've done the wrong thing here? What if he's in there dying right now? What if he stopped fucking breathing? Or what the fuck, his heart stopped? What the fuck are we meant to do? I said, not a problem. I'll resuscitate him. And he said, do you know how to do that? I said, no, I don't, but how hard can it be? Push, blow, blow. I haven't embellished that in the slightest. That's the exact thing I said to him. Push, blow, blow. Then the prostitute walks back in the room, who was with Dan. So I'm staying with the 5 coke fiends, 10 prostitutes. She walks in the room. It's like that moment in a movie where the needle on the record just sort of goes, eh, and everything stopped. And she walked in and she said, well, it's over. And me and Andrew in unison went, is he dead? And her exact words were, oh, I didn't check that. So, me, Andrew, the 5 coke fiends, the 10 hookers, we all run to the room. Now he's not dead. His chair's back in the upright position. His cock is still sitting up majestically, covered in jizz and spit. But for a man who an hour ago couldn't lift his eyelids, he was sitting there like this. Now, you might be wondering why his eyelids were up like that. Let me explain something. It wasn't through happiness. Tell you something about myself. I'm 33 years old. I've been masturbating since I was 10 years old. And in that time, I have not missed a day. Every single day I masturbate. Haven't missed a fucking day. Every day I'm in a hotel room with a laptop way high up on my